I have seen two doctrines at work that is not consistent with the truth of the Bible. One of the doctrines has a lot to do with shaping my own generation, and the other doctrine has a lot to do with shaping the younger generation. Now, my generation, the doctrine we grew up in is the doctrine of pressure. We were taught to pursue God, not really for God, but for what God can do with us. Our desire to be prayerful, to fast, to go to church programs, to submit to men of God, isn't really about God. We claim that we want to know God, but the truth behind the marks is we want God to use us as He is using those great men of God. This is the doctrine my own generation fell into. And so we walk under pressure. For us, it was not really about the relationship. It was more about doing things to please God so that He can empower us or reward us with power. The Bible was no longer sufficient to know God. We had to start reading books about men of God. The reason why our heart fell in love with those books, even more than reading the Bible, was because we were taught that in reading those books, we might be impacted with the grace that those people carry. It became a normal thing to see people climb the mountain, stay there, fast and pray, not because they really just want to enjoy God's presence or they are trying to escape from distractions so that they can just be with God. It was a method handed down to us that if you do these things, there's a high tendency that you will come out with this result and you'll be the next big thing that will happen. No matter how they fasted, prayed, tried to climb mountain, tried to attach themselves to ministers, it did not amount to what they were looking for. And somewhere in their hearts, there is this form of disappointment. And of course, the pastors they are under, the best way they can explain such failure is that they didn't pay the price enough. That pay the price mentality. We love God, we are passionate about God, but we have seen that we cannot force God to make us who He has not designed us to be. Many of us, our excitement started when people began to say, you are sounding like Apostle this, you are sounding like Apostle this, you are praying like Apostle this. We became excited because we felt it was impactation. But down the line, we have realized that you can sound, you can look, you can pray like, but you can never be like them. Because what they are was designed by God. And until you find who you are, you will keep remaining a cheap imitation. Now, for the younger generation, the doctrine they are being introduced into is the doctrine of materialism. It is so heavy now in their time. So everything you find the younger generation doing, many of them in the house of God, is for material gain. And that is why you find the younger generation running to churches that have material prosperity attached to it. If as a pastor you can even get loan, touch up your church, put AC, put cushion, do everything, you will have a greater measure of members, even if you're not preaching anything, than those who are preaching the truth but don't have access to such a wealth. This is basically what made many online prayers prosper, because it was more tied to what God can do for people. I'm not saying that God doesn't want to do things for us, but this cannot be the mandate. This cannot be the foundation of our gospel. People will not truly love God for who He is, but rather what He can give. So our own generation, it was more about pressure, trying to impress God so that God can release something. But you see, this younger generation, what they even have to deal with, may God help them,